And hello, everybody, and welcome to this new edition of GM Web3 dedicated to MultiversX, the Wednesday morning show dedicated to MultiversX. Before we start, I would like to thank our two partners, and first of all, the lending and borrowing platform, but not only because it's also the issuer of the first native stablecoin on MultiversX. Let me share you this. So yeah, on their platform, you can do DeFi. So you can borrow, you can lend, you can generate yield on your crypto assets on MultiversX, but you can also mint some USH and generate yield. So it's very interesting. It's very secure thanks to multiple audits. And yeah, you can find the link in description of the video, YouTube, but also a podcast. And I'd like also to thank our second sponsor, which is eApes, who just launched their new collection on Solana in partnership with the Magic Eden. So we wish them every success in this new adventure. So of course it's not a financial advice, but if you like the art and if you want to join their community, you can find their link in description of the video. And yeah, thank you very much both for your support. So today we have many topics to discuss about. We are diving into what feels like a pretty decisive moment for MultiversX, a moment where, let's be honest, there are as many questions as there are answers. The ecosystem is clearly at a turning point, and there are big announcements, big promises, big soon, some bold moves happening. But there's also doubt, uncertainties, and quite a lot of open questions about the direction being taken. So today, we're not just here to relay the official narrative. We are here to break it down, to challenge it, to discuss it, and to see what actually holds up. So this is an open conversation, and everyone listening can and should react, give their take, agree, disagree, and ask the hard questions, and we'll try to answer with my guest. So here's what's on the table today. So we will discuss about four topics. First of all, I will receive Misha. You already know him. He's pretty famous in the ecosystem for all what he's building. And with him, we'll speak about AI, blockchain automation, because there's a lot of buzz lately, but how much of it is actually meaningful? Is it real innovation, or are we just chasing trendy buzzwords? So with Misha, we'll try to unpack that and to discuss about AI power on-chain automation, and especially, of course, on MultiversX. After, we'll speak about the xPortal new claim XP claim season, who just started with the big reset. So we'll speak about it. We'll, of course, read together the post Marco just wrote to me yesterday to answer my concerns. So it will be interesting to have your opinion about how and what is happening around xPortal. The third topic will be about, of course, the ecosystem growth. So I will have a chat with Misha about how to attract developers, liquidity, users on MultiversX. So what's the problem? Is it technological? Is it marketing? Is it incentive? Or a bit of everything? And more importantly, we'll try to figure out what to do now. And the last topic will be about a post that Solver made about the coming end of EGLD inflation. So we'll try to figure out what will happen when there will be no more token minting to reward validators. Is it sustainable? What are the different possibilities? Yeah, so we're not here to sugarcoat anything. We're here to analyze, to discuss, to debate. So if you guys are watching live, don't just listen. Participate, drop your questions, your takes, your disagreements, and this conversation is wide open. So let's get into it by welcoming my guest of today, Misha. Hello,
Hello, hello.
how are you?
Doing great. Good morning, everyone. Good to be on the
Good
show.
morning. Good morning. I'm very happy to have you with me today. We have so many topics to talk about. Uh, and yeah, so what I propose, maybe for those who doesn't know you, who don't know you already, can you maybe introduce yourself quickly?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Shafi, working now as part of the VLib company, founder there. We have a bunch of products within MultiversX, including Pyramid. That was the first one that we're working on. We have Spawnable. We won the hackathon with that one in 2023 at the X Day. It's all about smart contract automation. Some things that we noticed could be automated, could be streamlined for Pyramid smart contracts, and some client projects that we had. We made a whole automation suite out of that one. Then last year, we started Tagrity. It's a tokenization platform all about bringing real world assets to the blockchain through NFTs and NFCs. Some other things are coming up there as well. For example, there's action tags where we are going to have simple tags in the real world that you scan with your phone and you're able to execute transaction on the blockchain. So real big on real world integration. Then another protocol, you might have heard of it, is WAP protocol that we developed. It's tightly integrated into, for example, Tagrity with action tags and with the latest project that we're working on. And it's also going to be quite a topic today. It's Cho AI. It's all about agents, AI, and connecting this to the blockchain. And that's what led us here today.
No, it's not this. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So many things you're building. So how did you discover MultiversX initially? Just how you came here and when?
Yeah, good question actually, because that's also the topic you mentioned for later, right? Like, how do we onboard builders? I'm a builder. I came on board. How do we onboard more in the long term? But personally, for me, the journey was that I was dangling around Ethereum. I got to know Ethereum. I looked into Cardano because of challenges within Ethereum. Then challenges on Cardano finally brought me now to MultiversX. A friend, university friend back then, introduced me, and they stuck around the ecosystem. I'm have a fairly technical background, so I dove into the GitHub, the open source parts of and the code of MultiversX. I liked what I saw, and yeah, then the ideas came, the tech was there, and it was time to start building.
Yeah, it's interesting. Definitely we'll speak about it, but maybe we can start by this. You know what? And we'll speak about AI automation after. Let's speak about the bigger. You're a developer. You work with builders every single day. You work with users. You work with investors. So you like me, you've been through years on MultiversX, so you saw things sometimes great, sometimes a little less. With PME, I think you saw that many projects were using it for their decentralized autonomous organization. Now I think you have less traffic because we don't have much project arriving. So that's the situation at the moment. So what in your perspective is the main problem on MultiversX that leads to not attracting new project, new users, new investors? So yeah, what's maybe the one or two main issues? And it's not just about MultiversX, it's about every layer one who struggle to attract new people, because MultiversX is not the only one in this situation, definitely.
Yeah, I think the whole problem of onboarding real non-speculative audiences to blockchain is like, it doesn't affect just MultiversX, it affects the whole ecosystem. Most of the use right now, the transactions that happen on all blockchains are very speculative, all in the sense of making monetary gains. But I think like in order to really shift this and to break out of this whole bubble, there's two things I think that are very necessary. And the first one is just, have the right focus. You have to, if you focus on the speculation, on the meme coins, for example, that's the audience you're going to attract. If you focus on DeFi, then that's the audience you attract. And these are all great things and all valid use cases potentially for blockchain. But one of the focuses I personally find missing across the whole ecosystem, and I think that's also where there are going to be, or that might be the entry to mainstream adoption, right? Is to focus on practical everyday use cases, be extremely pragmatic about things, and try to integrate it in daily life. And this can be easily said, but I think the entry point to this is businesses, right? Like businesses you engage with every day, they have two audiences that could be extremely interesting for blockchains. And one of them is, of course, every business, they have one, or the founder, if it's a single one person show, or they have like maybe 1,000 of employees. And once a company starts adopting blockchain into their everyday operations, they onboard their whole employees. So that's kickstarting one side of a snowball effect potentially. But every business also has customers, and maybe even more. So they might onboard the whole customer base in order to use the solutions that they develop. So that's a whole nother snowball effect that can get rolling. And I think this is very underutilized for now with whole blockchains. Uh, the the ones who tap into this market, I think, can extreme real rewards and can turn out a winner in this whole ecosystem, a winner in the blockchain race, right? Like it's a global blockchain race. Either you are a general blockchain and you attract all these people, you participate in the race, or you go very narrow in the market, right? Like there's Near, they focused on AI, and there might be metaverse blockchain. I thought, with MultiversX, maybe that could have been a market, or it maybe still is. But so that's for the focus side. But then I think there's a whole other side, which is all about, in order to enter these markets, to in everyday life, you have to make blockchain so accessible that it becomes, reduce the entry barrier so much that it doesn't have any, it's usable as any app you would download from the App Store. We talked about this last time a little bit, but users, they're extremely ruthless when it comes to using apps. If they don't like the design, if they don't like, if there's too many steps to perform in order to use the app, if it takes too long in order to have a benefit, then they will just drop off and never come again to use
Yeah,
their
but
application.
what you say is interesting as long as we see the blockchain. But okay, we're not attracting speculative users. Okay, there is no liquidity enough, not project enough, no hype enough. Okay, but why aren't we attracting companies like real projects just for the take, and so we abstract the blockchain? Uh, I had an interview a few days ago with Abdel, head of ecosystem at Startnet, and they made a partnership with Focus Tree. I don't know if you know, and they brought like 500,000 users on Startnet. Users don't know it, so they're just using the Startnet layer for the technology, for the scalability, of course. The users don't know. They don't even like see the blockchain. So that's what you're saying. We need to rise the barrier of entry. So what's the missing point on MultiversX to reach this point, and to, I don't know, like organize a business development strategy to attract companies, not for the speculation, but for the technology, because that's, in my opinion, the tomorrow of blockchain.
What's the app called? Focus Tree, right?
Oh, Focus Tree is an app. I will send you the link. And
I've-
there they have like so many users. It's a student thing. I will send you the link. And yeah, they chose Starknet, but it's just like an example of a company who has users who wants to use blockchain, but they don't want to show it. They just need the technology because they want to reduce fees, because they want there's so many interest in choosing a blockchain. For example, you have Amazon and Walmart who wants to launch their own stable coin because they want to reduce the payment fees that they pay every single year to Visa and a MasterCard. It's billions of dollars. So the user will not see the blockchain, but the company will feel it because it will reduce massively the cost and increase, of course, many other things. So, what do you think is lacking on MultiversX to attract these companies? Maybe Supernova, maybe BD, efficient BD team. Danny Serb, if you can listen to us, guy, when business development. So that's my question, and I know that this is something that you are working by developing the tool that will raise the barrier of entries.
Yeah, so lots of points, and definitely.
No, there's one: how to attract companies, not users,
No,
not
no, no,
investors,
you
not
brought more,
speculation.
you brought up more points because
Okay, take your time.
I'm a, like with focus tree, for example, I'm a proponent. I know a lot of people say make blockchain invisible. Users should not even know that they're using blockchain. But then, I mean, blockchain brings benefits for sure. But in many cases, like if a user doesn't know they're using blockchain, is this really the end goal? Because blockchain in itself brings so many benefits. And I think if they're communicated slightly, don't overexpose them to it. Just slightly. What hey, we're using blockchain. This and this are the benefits. You actually own maybe in focus tree, I don't know the dynamics there, but I think you might earn some tokens in order to for doing focused work or anything. Like, what's the difference if you earn tokens on the blockchain and just a database entry in the focus tree backend on the focus tree servers? What's the difference for the user there if they don't even know that they're using blockchain, right? So I think at least that there's an elegant mix there of educating users enough so they know what the benefits are, but still making it as easy as possible. And to bringing users, of course, like I said, the focus is a big part, but once you have that, and once you have the focus and you try to onboard businesses to MultiversX, to other blockchains, then you actually notice with the focus that you now have, all the barriers that need to be overcome. But if you don't have the focus, you won't even see them, right? Like if you don't know what you don't know. For example, if you go to a business and approach them and they tell you they would like to have a solution. I brought this example up in many groups privately. But for example, a few weeks back, I was at the barber shop. I don't need to go that often, but still. And they handed me out, these business card things where you get a stamp, and after you have 10 stamps, then
Program,
you
yeah.
get one for free, right? Like a loyalty program, exactly. And I asked him, like, how often do people, forget this card at home? He says, like, happens all the time. What do you do then? Oh, I give them a new card, like with the first stamp. And then like there's like so many things that a blockchain solution even could solve. But if you don't even have to focus on all these use cases, how we can integrate blockchain into daily life, make this an NFT, the stamp, or you receive an NFT after you've been there, then you won't even notice all the things, that all the obstacles that you need to overcome in order to implement such a solution. And the first major thing obviously is the whole wallet chaos. I call it the chaos because it is a chaos on almost any blockchain for now. If a barber, if a hairdresser, right, like they implement such a solution, they have to onboard all the customers to it. And if they have to onboard all the customers to it, they don't only have to onboard them to this particular solution, but they have to onboard them to blockchain. They have to educate them about blockchain. They have to, you know, tell them, hey, write down the 24 words for the seed phrase. Don't ever forget them because you lose all access to the wallet. Blah blah blah. Right? Like, this is just so much complexity that keeps all these businesses away from implementing such solutions. And if we have the focus, then we can focus on put extreme focus. Like few years back, the earlier the better, right? And we now have a solution for that upcoming, for the whole for the whole wallet abstraction, right? Like the use to make it easy for users. Which is on one part we have the passkeys coming up, but on the other hand we have Joachim. Don't know, does he join us today? He's working on the whole Gaupa login, which is going to be super useful for that. But then again, we have the focus. Now we have the passkeys. Now we have the Gaupa login. Then we because we have to focus all this, we notice, oh, okay, now there's another thing missing. Because now you have all these wallets for the customers, but they cannot do anything because they don't have EGLD, or, you know, the native token in order to pay transaction fees. So that's another obstacle to overcome. And this path continues on and on until you actually have a solution that works. And
yeah, but we are in 2025. The mainnet has been launched 5 years ago. So I'm okay that wallet abstraction and business development is something very important for a blockchain. But maybe in a more general question, companies have been slow to grasp the benefits of digital technology. You know, like 10 or 15 years ago, some companies did not want to go digital. Today, it's obvious that they need to digitalize their processes. How do you go about convincing companies about tokenizing their activities? Because that's, in my opinion, the next that should be the next revolution. Even though at the moment we're more talking about AI in companies, and I can see more efforts from states, from a lobby, from companies to convince company to adopt AI in their process. So, do you think AI actually replaced tokenization, or these two movements are going parallel?
good point. I personally see blockchain as a bridge between a lot of players and environments. Meaning, on one hand, you have, you know, humans that are the main player, but then you have the agents, and you have maybe other environments than the real world, which could be, you know, games and other kinds of virtual worlds like the metaverses, right? And in order to bridge all these realities and all these people and all the agents, the AIs, blockchain is just, you know, the layer where everything works seamlessly. Because agents would not work, or personally, I don't think agents will just work without blockchain, especially once you integrate finances and all this, because it's just such a like the real world is so fragmented in services, right? Like your bank account doesn't seamlessly integrate with all the other platforms that you use every day. But blockchain is this coherent layer where everything just works seamlessly together, and just by pure accidents, it's based on code and math and all this, right? And so an agent has an extremely easy way to operate in this ecosystem, and yeah, you know, move funds that can be used anywhere across all platforms that you use every day.
Okay. So, you as a builder, for example, what, uh, like, because you're building tools, okay, that will be used by users, but also by projects and companies. So, what would you need as a builder from the foundation, from the community, from the ecosystem to reach more customers? Because let's be clear, when you spend hours, days, weeks to develop something, what you want is the tool to be used, the DApp to be used. So, what would you like? What is missing for your tools? It's the same for GoPal login. It's the same for an NFT marketplace. I don't know. So what would you guys need to to fill your DApp with users and to fill that block with transactions?
Yeah,
That's the question on the
it's
blockchain.
it's a really good question. Yeah. Tech, like with Pyramid, and I think we started this since the beginning, is that we try to be very self-reliant, like not, hey foundation, do this and do this. We like that's how all the projects came to life, right? Like we built Pyramid because we wanted to have this DAO and team-based tool. But then we noticed, okay, smart contracts, it's a lot, it's maintenance work that can be automated. And instead of going to the foundation, hey, provide us this, we built it ourselves, right? We brought this to, and we made it available to everyone. We could have had this as an internal solution only, but we productized it, made it available to everyone. Same with warps. Warps is, Solana Blinks, like, could have gone to the foundation, hey, please provide us this, but we developed this ourselves. And we try to continue this path as much as possible. Of course, the resources are constrained. So sometimes we look to other solution providers, like, or ask the foundation to prioritize some things, like, for example, the passkeys. They're very responsive on this, because there are a lot of challenges there. I think we will get there very soon. They listen to a lot of feedback. I generally received very good support from them. But of course, like, their resources are also very constrained, and they have to pursue the roadmap. With Supernova, it's a very big milestone to achieve, and all the ecosystem around it, because not just protocol improvements, you have to adapt, like, the all the ecosystem around this, with every upgrade. So yeah, the short answer is we try to be self-reliant, but of course some support is needed, and this is what I mean with focus, right? Like, I think in order to fill the blocks, as you said, reduce the entry barrier as much as possible, so that we can smoothly integrate into everyday life. I think that's the lowest hanging fruit at the moment, because if you can't compete with capital, right, like, you can't compete with Solana, for example, throw grants left and right to all projects, then you have to pursue a different path. You won't win by giving smaller grants. This is just not the vertical to compete at. I think this real world integration path could be a much more effective way to go about this.
Okay, and so what do you see as MultiversX vision for a business strategy? What kind of industry, what kind of company, what kind of users do they want to attract? Because this is, in my opinion, also a very important question. You have specialized blockchain. You talked about insomnia, like a gaming blockchain. You have DeFi blockchain. You have, you know what I mean. MultiversX is considered as a generalistic blockchain, so they're not focused on one industry. You talked about metaverse. I hope that we will not come back to this. But anyway, so what's in your opinion, by on X Alliance, because you're a member, by talking with the core team members, or maybe just by trying to see what's happening, what is their business strategy? Because the protocol is okay, the technology is okay, they are building things, but they are also responsible of attracting and to make the ecosystem grow. But for this, you need to have a strategy.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. So maybe to give some example, you see on Solana, they are very institutional strategy. They are like doing great job to attract institutional payments, banks and so on, because they want to remove this Degen image that they have. So there is a strategy in this. There are also the hardware strategy with the phone and with the Saga phone. So we can see the strategy. You have Near, for example, because you mentioned it, they want to be AI focused, and they only talk about how to attract AI builders, projects, and use cases. And you can take like these examples for many other blockchains. So, what do you think MultiversX vision, or what should be MultiversX vision in terms of industry and business development?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this last time. So personally, and what also attracted me to MultiversX is I came here because I wanted to build the new internet, and I think blockchain for me is the new internet. It has all the properties that make a new, what can be better in the Web 2 is now made better with Web 3. So that's, for me, this is the vision. But I think in general, most blockchains, and not just MultiversX, they throw need to think of the terms that I use, but I think they throw mud at the wall and see what sticks, and that's what they double down on, and that's a valid solution. I mean, many products follow this path. They try out different things, see where users interacted with, and then they double down on this. I think that's also how Instagram came to life. It was about don't quote me on this, but I think they were more like a location-based app, and then they saw people used images and wanted to have filters and all this, and then they became this this whole photo image-based app, and this is where the users led them to. And this might I'm not involved that much with Near. This is what happened, I guess, with them, that they saw, okay, AI use cases, people love that, people build AI a lot, we are now the AI blockchain. And maybe one day we will have this very powerful moment at MultiversX. Maybe we will stay a very generalized blockchain. I don't know. But in general, the vision for me is, MultiversX is the new internet blockchain itself, and MultiversX does it the best. That's why we're here building.
Okay, sounds good. What do you think about the? It's a question we have in the chat. What do you think about the USA centric strategy of MultiversX? Do you think it was the best solution to go there, despite the cost to be in the United States, despite the number of actors, despite of the I think it's the biggest challenge to go and to exist in the United States of America, where you already have the biggest players of the industry. So do you think 1 year after they decided to move to the United States, because as we remember, they I don't know how to say in English. Let just give me a second. Yeah, they registered the trademark MultiversX in the United States on July last year. So it's been like 1 year. They took the decision to go there, and of course, the Trump election made it faster. Anyway, so what do you think about this strategy? And what are you expecting by the end of the year about this? And it will be my last general question to have your opinion about MultiversX strategy and ecosystem.
No, I think it's fine. So it's a tough question. So I don't know anything, just to say, like I'm not behind the scenes anything connected or so. The US is surely an attractive environment for blockchains. I think they have been very open, especially now, in comparison to Europe. It's always a question. Like I said, I don't know any connections that might have anything that's going on there, but you're entering a market where there are key players already, and I think in Europe, it should not be neglected completely, right? Because we have a presence here in Europe. We have we have a whole market ourselves here, and if there is a slight focus on this front as well, could be beneficial one day, right? Like maybe the European Union or not, I don't know, would favor a blockchain that's from Europe at one point, or if they build their own in-house. Like there's all kinds of dumb decisions going on there. So maybe that's what I said before. You don't know what you don't know. So there's a lot of things. For example, I don't know what it's like to build a blockchain with all the regulations going on there. I think blockchains are very payment based. In the podcast, I think yesterday, Greg from X Money, payment is what they say. Payments are the most regulated industry on the planet, and especially I can imagine that's true in Europe. So I definitely understand why people building in that industry would look for other places to build primarily. But as I said, Europe is a huge market too, and might be a lot of opportunities here too.
Okay, we will receive. Oh no, actually no. Yes, thank you very much, Misha, for your um, um, like your take about these points. So let's speak about AI, blockchain, and automation. My first question for you, and it will be like an open discussion. So we'll try to figure out what do you think about this like subject. First of all, do you think blockchain and AI are naturally linked? Because I have the feeling that for like for 1 or 2 years, blockchain builders, blockchain industry wants to go on the train with AI. And so they are like making both industry linked. But it's not exactly the same with AI, who actually don't talk about blockchain a lot. So the feeling, and it's just an intuitive feeling. So I would like to discuss about it with you. If blockchain suffers from so many problems of adoption, they see AI in 2 or 3 years. They like scale, like it scales a lot in the world. So maybe blockchain wants to take a part of this adoption. So blockchain industry wants, yeah, to do the same. Maybe a bit of jealousy. So that's just one thing I'm thinking about. What do you think about this first, and after we'll speak about the use cases and so on.
Tough question also. Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. Like blockchain looks a lot to AI, but you rarely hear AI leaders talking about blockchain. That might have different reasons. I think now is the prime time for AI. There's a lot of progress happening there, and I think AI is immediately useful to everyday situations, right? Like I use AI daily. I mean, even VLeap, we did the whole not pivot, but we doubled down on AI because it's just so useful. It helps accelerate progress. It helps reduce costs, be faster. Yeah, and it's a tough question. But going back to what I said before, I see blockchain as the layer that connects everything. So blockchain does have an AI focus, but they have focus on so many different areas, and I think they're all right equally weighted. AI might automate a lot of things there. We can get into this with what we're building with Joy AI. But blockchain connects all these things. So that's why I think it's more natural for blockchain, to look to all these areas and connect them rather than for AI to go to blockchain and the other way around.
Okay, so you don't think it's just a marketing narrative? There's something deeper in this relation between the two industries. I think you would not say the opposite, of course, but it's interesting to see the asymmetry. Um, how much blockchain is talking about AI and how much AI is not talking about blockchain. So that's my point. But maybe let's speak about the different use cases. You told me that for like month now you're working on different things connected with blockchain, AI, automation, and so on. Uh, Automation through AI is a big industry in Web2. We can see it on the different social networks and also about the fundraising, that all the solutions that can make tasks do themselves, like in a way, represent a big market at the moment. So what is the place of Web3 in this industry? Have you seen any relevant use cases of how to automate things on blockchain.
Yeah. So Web 2 exists, right, for a very long time. There's like, since I was born, right? I can remember. Okay, as part of this, right? But Web 3 is only a couple of years really old, and the ecosystems are, like there are so many use cases in Web 2, but only so many use cases in Web 3. And as we bring more use cases to Web 3, as like AI can only really make use of what exists already in the Web 2 and in the Web 3 space. So we definitely, in order to give more use case to AI, we have to increase the use cases in Web 3, and that goes all to integrating it daily. But nevertheless, I think since AI is so, or agents even, or AI are so native to blockchains, they can have their own wallets without, they don't have to go and do a KYC at a bank, wait for approval. No, they can mathematically calculate, a private key, and have their own wallet, receive funds immediately. It happens all instantly. Agents can easily connect with each other on the blockchain. So it's a natural environment for the agents. And because of this ease of access for agents, there's no real limitation of what they can do on the blockchain. For example, we have PeerMe, we have a bounty platform on PeerMe. If an agent wanted to earn funds there, they could easily integrate with PeerMe bounties, earn some funds, and then do something else with that. And if, for example, the more real world or even Web2 platforms accept payments on the blockchain, the more agents will be able to pay for services directly on the blockchain. Agents, they don't have such an easy time interacting with the banks, right? So an agent it's not so easy to make them order something on Amazon. But if it's an on-chain payment, super easy to do. And as I said, it all works together, and that's where we are pushing Choi to, is to automate all the daily progresses that we have on the blockchain and even off-chain. Like there's a huge part of Choi where we integrate with all the off-chain services that we said. There are many each server, Facebook and all the platforms, Amazon, they have APIs, and you can do custom integrations with that agents can make use of. There's, don't want to get too technical, but there's this whole new protocol that's being hyped, MCP, which allows agents to natively integrate there as well. So you can you can automate a lot of things there for business. And in everyday life, it might be, even investing as a user. It can educate you on investing strategies. You have sponsor Hatom. An agent can educate you on this and do the investments directly from you in one go. You don't have to care about anything, because that's what we talked about, reducing the entry barrier. If I join as a new user, this whole DeFi space is super complicated. But if an agent can perform most of the actions, you don't have to do this yourself. It just tells you about maybe some components, like APR or something, that makes it easy accessible. I think they can help a lot there. And for businesses too, like we're experimenting with staking providers. There's Columbia Staking. They use Warps and PeerMe to redistribute parts of their fees generated, through their staking services. They buy back their token and redistribute it back to their stakers of that token. This is something that uses a lot of manual work right now. You have to wrap the token, you have to do the swap, you have to then maybe calculate some things, then you have to distribute again to the stakers. But things like this, these daily operations that cost time and especially headspace, you have to, every day, you have to keep in mind, I cannot meet friends at that point because I have to do a distribution there, or, all of these things, that's something you can easily automate with agents. We have a lot of cool prototypes there. Hope to, the beta version, we're pushing it forward. Hope to bring this to more and more people in the coming weeks.
But thank you, Misha, because so far on MultiversX, as far as I know, as I saw, we've only seen AI agent making tweets. The AI agent trend began 12 months ago on other chain with the virtuals and many more. And the top of the hype was, let's say, 6 months ago on November or December. But so far on Multiverse 6, I haven't like seen anything else than just like agent who makes tweet funny stuff and so on. And we see this X genie on xPortal, which is just a button after more than 2 years of work. So if I want to have a cold vision of what is AI agent on MultiversX ecosystem, I don't see anything popping and making life easier, making user experience easier. So first, is my vision incomplete? And please correct me, give me examples, share your screen, tell us about the AI agent or just AI ecosystem on MultiverseX. And if I'm not wrong, let's chat about why it's like this. But maybe the first, do my vision is my vision incomplete?
I do think so, yes. But it's just, because it's incomplete for everybody. No one knows where this whole space goes. No one knows what AI will bring as next innovations, how intelligent it will be in the end. But there's a spectrum, right? Like, try to think as far as possible and create this future, right? That's what we're trying to do. And we try to build Joy AI based on real use cases, right? Like, none of the features that are being developed is, just because we think of, oh, that's going to be useful in the future. No, the first the whole features that we develop is big. After letting a new user in, we have a whole beta list of a few thousand users, and they bring their use cases. Hey, can you do this? Can you do this? And we try to pursue that. The thing about AI is, and why it takes so long, is because it's extremely hard to get agents right. A lot of agents that are being, the Twitter agents and a lot of the agents that we talk about and see being hyped, they're actually really dumb, right? Like, a lot of the capabilities for agents
I
right now.
block them all when they post under my post. I mute them. I block them. It's so empty, so dumb. I completely agree with you.
And it's not just, it's not just text wise that their output is dumb. The capability wise, even, they're completely dumb. Meaning, most of the agent frameworks, because agents, there's frameworks, you have maybe heard of Eliza, of Auto GPT. There's like whole frameworks that these agents are being built on top of. But most of these hard code, and this is technical, but I'm gonna expand this, hard code the capabilities of agents. Meaning, in order to make an integration, like, for example, I want the agent to be able to use X exchange, then okay, a developer has to go write probably like 100 to 400 lines of code, and then submit it to the framework, hope that the maintainers of the Eliza framework or another framework accept this, right? And all this. And this is how the agent gains more capabilities. Through someone codes this functionality in there, then there is, mapping between the LLM and the code. So it's a slow progress, and that's what my main point is. So we decided to go a completely other route with Joy AI, where we build all the capabilities that an agent has, not, on hard coding, where we actually write lots of lines of code, but we use the VARP protocol. I think we mentioned it last time very briefly. It's all about, creating these shareable links that you can send to friends and through messages and all this, and you can create a transaction on the blockchain. But fundamentally, what VARPs are is they're instructions. We call them VARP blueprints. There are instructions of how to interact with a smart contract, and they can even be AI generated in the future too. And so it takes maybe a few minutes to create a warp, and then the agent will know how to interact with a smart contract. So if
So
you
let's if you speak about wraps, okay, it's very cool. But is it used? I mean, in which protocol, in which DApp is it integrated? So you build this. You were very proud to announce it, and it's completely normal as a developer to build things and to be proud of it. But actually the thing is it used in the end? So that's the point. And I think it's so important for you to keep motivated, to keep building, to see your tools, your dApps used. So about this, you announced a month ago this wrap warp thing. So is it used and where? Because I can't see. But maybe I'm blind. Maybe it's not seen on Twitter, and so it's maybe a lack of marketing. I don't know.
Yeah, you mentioned the motivation, and that's completely right. Like you build something, you need we need this actually yourselves, the warps, because we build front ends which take a lot of time. Now we can do just a quick warp for anyone to perform it, and that's the good thing you mentioned, right? Like we released warp version 1, and we wouldn't have released warp version 2 if no one would be using it. But of course, as always, if you release a technology, there's people who might use it, but then they can't really use it because it's not flexible enough. It doesn't have yet the right features. So we keep iterating, keep extending it. We have WAP version 3 coming up that makes it even more flexible, so more people can use it. But to answer your question, WAP 1 version 1 and 2 are being used. Yes, we use them for clients even that are internally, but also on MultiversX, a few dApps have staking providers have adopted it. There's a lot of staking agencies who you can use a warp to stake on the blockchain, so you don't have to open the wallet and all this. But there's, for example, with PeerMe, we have the staking where you can distribute to stakers. You can use a warp to distribute funds there. People are using it. I think I'm writing I've written a document just last week. The total amount of transactions that warps have cost in the last 3 months is around 2,500. Like that's the total amount that have been signed basically and submitted to the network. But yeah, that's where the most motivation comes from, because warp protocol needs to be evolving in order to make it more applicable to more protocols, so that, because right now with version 2 it would not be possible to use it, for example, with swap aggregator, because there are some other components involved there. So we need to release version 3 in order to make it more useful and more dApps that can integrate with it.
Thank you, Misha. Let's welcome another speaker with us to challenge these topics. Hello, subject. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Very good, very good. Thank you for joining. I will maybe give you the mic by this very general question. Do you think AI needs blockchain or blockchain needs AI?
I think blockchain needs AI probably more than AI. I mean, we've seen that ChatGPT is, how many different LLMs are taking over. So I think that maybe there's a natural fusion between the two in the future, but definitely at this stage, I think AI penetrated the masses much quicker. And it's very easy to use. Right now, people mostly are using it like chat. So it's very intuitive. It's low investment. So I think it was just a very simple thing for people to, and it's amazing. So when something has that much utility on a daily basis for people, it's gonna get adopted. And I think crypto is still trying to find, that product.
Okay, and what in your life would need automation in the Web3? Because on the Web2, I think we all have examples of what we can do with AI. But in the blockchain, what in your daily life would you need to automate, to, I don't know, reduce fees, to earn time, and so on and so on?
Well, I think trading signals is pretty cool. If you have a bot that is very easy to set up, and you don't want to be glued to the charts, something that is reliable, and that doesn't seem uh, too likely to drain your wallet on some platforms. I think that's something that would be pretty cool to watch if you had a one click set up a trading bot, and it's not too risky. You can pick high risk, low risk. um, that's I think that's something that would be a cool entry point for a lot of people, because trading is pretty intimidating. But if you have something like that, I think that could bring on a lot of people.
Okay, so Misha, we have a concrete use case, which is, in my opinion, the most shared in the Web3 industry: speculation, trading. High frequency trading is the new meta, with this new layer with like 1 million TPS, etc. So AI can have a very big impact on this, because it can do things faster and better than maybe a human can do, if it's well trained, of course. So are you working, Misha, and on this kind of use case? And do you know any solution maybe outside of MultiversX, which maybe we could inspire in here?
Quick to the previous topic. I think AI is not an enabler of new use cases. It just makes existing use cases so much better. And right now, like if you don't use a blockchain in everyday life and only use it for trading, then agents on the blockchain will only help you maybe with trading if they have the capabilities. And yeah, I think if we're doing it, I mean, personally, I'm not so much interested in this personally in the speculative use cases, like to make a profitable trading bot. I think other people are doing this already. It's quite saturated of the space of this. Maybe not the MultiversX, but I'm not saying we're not doing it, but it's not our primary focus. But if you have users saying, hey, I want to use the Joya agent to perform trading operations, there is nothing against that. We can create warps that interact with different exchanges. We can create warps that fetch information from smart contracts and perform decisions based on that. I think they can be quite effective as well. Maybe even send you reminders, push notifications. Hey, there is an arbitrage opportunity, or who knows what, right?
But what you builders are waiting, you're waiting for the community to ask you for these use cases, because they seem to be obvious. But maybe I'm wrong. But what are you waiting for? And I'm not talking to you, Misha, personally, of course. I'm talking about the builders in general, who are developing things that are not used or not enough. There you have a concrete use case with a speculation, with a business model, very simple business model. Can be subscription, can be fees on different things. So yeah, why don't we have such thing around AI and blockchain on MultiversX? Yeah, to trade on different dexes, or to lend and borrow and optimize the different strategy to increase yield and so on. Sorry for my question, it can be a very tough one, but I just want to know what's the barrier. Why isn't it live at the moment? Because Benjamin talked about AI on MultiversX for years, and at the moment we don't have much AI on MultiversX. So that's my maybe tough question.
No, not tough at all. Give me harder questions, G. And
Don't tell me. No, 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 no.
I know you can do better.
Perfect.
No, I mean, the foundation itself, they have done quite the job at AI, even more than other foundations, but potentially, right? They have worked on ELISA integration. They have had a Kickstarter template. They have worked on quite a lot, and I think it's also for the builders to build these things. And now, because you said, why is no builder building this? I mean, I can't speak only for myself, and personally, with really, we try to get out of asset this whole speculative bubble. We don't want blockchain to be known as this completely, like this is where you become rich overnight. We want to actually integrate this into everyday life. This is just simply why it's not the biggest use case of ours. But as I said, if a builder says, if a user of Choya says, hey, can I do a swap there? Can I, whatever you need, we'll try to create a warp for this. And if we have a warp for this, then the agent can use it. So we're not waiting, for builders to for users to tell us what to do. We just figure it out. Where do we take this product, and we won't develop things that are eventually not used. And to say this, AI is a hard business to be in. It's evolving fast. It's also super unstable. So you have to actually make a very good stable product out of it. You don't want to release an AI agent that sends all your funds, or does a very profitable trade, right? So there's a lot of focus going into this, and it's just not the direction we want to put a lot of focus in right now. But as I said, if there's many users who want to use it, then get in touch. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, okay, great. So I can already hear some people telling me, bro, you can do it. Build. And now with VibeOX, you can build anything you want, even if you're not the developer. So it's a transition maybe to speak about VibeOX. Are you using it, Misha? Do you think it will make I don't know, like easier and faster to launch AI dApps on MultiversX?
So personally, VibeOX has its own target audience, right? And it targets users who have ideas, but they might not be too technical. And I think that goes back to AI. MultiversX does a lot in that AI direction. But for me personally, what I see VibeOX long term as is a user comes to MultiversX, they have an idea, maybe they have their own business, maybe I'm a lawyer, and I want to use blockchain because of existing solutions are not good enough. Actually, I have a use case for this. Just last week, it comes up all the time. But as a lawyer, you, for example, sign documents. You send out documents that need to be signed a lot. And the current Web2 solutions for document signing are ugly. Personally, I would say, they're extremely they cost a lot. There's a lot to complain on that front. And signing, you actually with blockchain, you're signing literally transactions every day. So that's a use case, for example, that I would imagine a lawyer or maybe even a company could use it in the future. And with VibeOX, if I have this idea, I could go ahead and maybe create this without much technical knowledge, right? Maybe in a day or two. So let's see. I think VibeOX could have a very good future that enables all these, like the lawyer example was just a minor thing. Maybe I'm a musician, maybe I'm a doctor, and I have this use case in mind that I want to experiment with, and that is, I think, the target audience for VibeOX, and that could potentially bring up very cool products in the future for MultiversX.
Okay, and you, subject, what do you think about VibeOX? Have you tried it, or have you seen any dApp built that could be interesting for the ecosystem, or maybe it's too early to have a definite opinion about this?
I've played with it. I'm not a dev, so going from playing with it to actually launching a product, it still seems like there's a lot of steps in between. It's not too intuitive for me to get that far, but I think that it's definitely going to be something that's part of the next bubble phase. As you look at crypto's history, I think each manic phase where there's an explosion of development has been facilitated by some advent, like the ICOs was just a lot of people copy pasting white papers, and then we saw a lot of forks in the DeFi craze on Ethereum. So anything that really expedites development, or that people can launch with extreme speed usually is what fuels these phases where people are just copying dApps or just launching millions of experiments all at once. That's usually what leads to these crazy speculative bubbles. So I definitely think these tools that let people build dApps in a couple days, you're going to see people spin up white papers, an idea. They're going to make it look, and sound really innovative, and some of them will work and some of them are going to flame out. But I think this is definitely going to be part of that next alt craze.
Okay, thank you, subject. So maybe you want to add anything, Misha, about automation? You want to, I don't know, like tell us a bit what will be released in the coming weeks, you said. And yeah, so what's up with your so different projects? I can't hear you.
Yeah, just noticed. You mean all of the projects that I'm working on, or in connection to YBX? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can be done. Things that we're talking about, for example, to connect YBX with smart contract automation with Spawnable, could be super interesting, because right now there's what you can't really trust AI to write smart contracts. I mean, they might write smart contracts, but there might be significant security vulnerabilities in it, right? So, and you definitely, with Spawnable, we're definitely looking maybe to add significant AI audits, to enhance maybe best practices, of developers, or security audits, to give you notices before you deploy a smart contract that there might be a vulnerability in it, or to have human approval. So something that works with Spawnable too is that an AI would deploy a smart contract, and the human, or maybe two, have to approve this deployment before it goes live. There's a lot of automations on that front that can be done, but similarly with Joy aiagents, I think it would be super cool, and that's what we're definitely looking to work towards long term, is to have this whole integrated system where and agents can have their own company, maybe using Pyramid, through a multi-sig smart contract. By the way, that's what we worked on with Swarms in the hackathon. To have Swarms multiple use a multi-sig or a DAO together. But I think long term it could be super interesting, to have agents use YBX to develop a platform. Could be the document signing platform, right? And then we have another set of agents that operate on Telegram, Discord, email, and all this. They take in user feedback, could be bug reports or features, and then they communicate this to other agents that then implement, the bug fix, the feature, and all this. So this is a journey, a long journey that we're trying to get towards. So I think it could be super interesting to have completely autonomous products that are being built by agents, and YBX could be a big component of this, right? Because they are super focused on building MultiversX applications.
Okay, can't wait to see this. I would like to speak with you about xPortal. I don't know if you followed what happened yesterday. The season two, about the claim of XP. You need to click like every day for 1 year, and at the end. You get XP, and the more XP you have, the better the gift you receive. The season two is over now, and xPortal team announced the third season, and as I would say, I was about to say always, but I will just say as often. There was some complaints from the community about this, and especially about the reset. Also, many people are disappointed about what they earn because they clicked like every single day for 365 days, and they only like got an sft or something. We can also mention that some of them will have to choose between a t-shirt or the equivalent in their upcoming token, because they will launch a token. So we can see in on X some people that are disappointed about this gamification in xPortal. And about this, I made a post here, um, and I asked some question to xPortal team about these complaints, this disappointment, and Marco, who is co-founder and CPO of xPortal, replied by saying that I will let you guys read the whole answer he did. But yeah, definitely they want to add a new like interaction required, so they should double the transaction. And they um, defended their position by saying that it was about creating engagement, relaying on the real value of the users. And they talked about 2.5 million users. And my point when I answered was about be careful with announcing such like big amount of users, because if you have 2.5 million of users, that's a big number. You should create value enough to reward the most active ones, and it's not the case. So either the 2.5 million users are not generating any revenue, or just a small part of it, or you don't have really real 2.5 million users. But I think the digits must be relevant through the revenue that the application is generating, that is able to reward the users with. So that's the point. So I don't know, Michelle, or subject, or guys from the audience, of course, what do you think about this Strike gamification on xPortal? Do you think it's something that they should focus on and continue, or do you think it's okay, I clicked every day for 1 year for like nothing? This is what we read a lot on X. And so what's and do you click every day on xPortal yourself? I don't know, Michelle, a subject, whoever wants to start.
Subject, you want to go?
Sure. So I actually gave up on that game about a year ago after, I think I just had a glitch on the app and it logged out my wallet while I was traveling. So I lost a long streak just because, there was a little bit of a glitch. So I was kind of frustrated. But I started to get some FOMO because I thought that, they were going to make it important. And I ended up building back another 80 or 90-day streak. I used like 15 repair NFTs. I bought a bunch of them. I was like, you know what? I don't want to miss the airdrop. But in general, I'm not a big fan of, these kinds of gamification just for the sake of it. I'd rather see that, there's something that is more meaningful, something that is more social, something that, you know, just lets people be people, and, we're not becoming the AI agents that, you know, it just feels really dystopian to me. So I actually thought this was pretty cruel to not even, I was shocked to see that how many people had 395-day streaks, but, you know, I don't call the shots there. So,
So soon it will be possible to automate the the streak, so we don't have to make any effort. But yeah, maybe we can add that to earn XP, it's not just about clicking every day. There's also a bunch of tasks to fulfill, like I don't know, like referral friends by EGLD and like different tasks. And the more you do, the more you earn XP. But yeah, definitely you need to click every single day, and now it will be two times. So two daily action. But yeah, it's interesting what you say that you gave up on clicking because you lost your streak. And I talked about it with Marco about gamification and how the effort must be like linked to the reward. So the more you ask, the more you need to give. And if the ratio is not balanced, it will create boredness, and people will stop interacting. So that's what happened with you, subject. You did not see the opportunity to start from zero regarding the thing that you could maybe earn at the end. What about you, Misha? I think gamification is very important to create engagement, to make people behave regularly on apps. But in the end, when you compare to other ecosystem on which you just need to make, I don't know, like dozens of transactions to be eligible with thousands of dollars. So can we compete with our gamification that leads to a $10 t-shirt by clicking every single day for 1 year?
Oh yeah, I mean, journey wise, my journey is exactly the same as with a subject. Also had a streak, and there was some bug, and then didn't manage to continue that streak, but started a few months back again, built up a streak, and yeah, I mean, technically, what is the main purpose, right, of this whole streak building? I mean, in the end, it started completely off chain. We didn't have this on chain, and it prompted users to go back to the app, right? I think that's the main purpose of it, to have daily touch points of users coming to xPortal, opening the app actually. So I think that um, to give a rating to this, to see how useful or effective this is, you actually have to measure it. So I'd be personally interested in how well it works. Could work really well, and as a bonus, right, it generates some on-chain transactions as well. Yeah, could also be interesting, and definitely I think this should be expanded. Gamified. But I do understand anyone who lost the streak and is now disappointed, because if you play a game and you lose everything that you've worked for or time invested a lot of time in, you maybe bought as a subject, a strict repair, so you have a financial investment. So I can understand that this is frustrating, and could have been handled differently. But I think they followed up now with some things yesterday with a post. But I didn't spend too much time looking into that.
Yeah, you said that the main goal was to make people come back to the app every day, and you're right. But also, let's be clear, this claim thing, and we can see it in the screen I'm sharing to you now, is also the main way to make transactions on MultiversX. Because as you can see, the four first use cases of MultiversX in terms of number of transaction in a daily basis as xPortal claim.
I would want to throw something in there. I don't think this is the most transactions that are caused. I need to look into this, but I think in general the most transactions that are being done on any blockchain are bots or automatic ones, right? Like all kinds of bots that perform different arbitrage or anything, right?
Yeah, but it's something that creates value arbitrage. It's users or bots that are taking opportunities with market anomalies. So it's pretty much fair. It's normal. It's something that is interesting, by the way. Of course, you can speak about Solana, on which most transactions are messages between validators. So this is part of the consensus. It's not part of the activity, financial activity. So this is interesting. But yeah, regarding MultiversX, this XP claim is very important, and we can see here in the this is live on Explorer, MultiversX, the four first most used application is the claim XP, and they divided in four apps. So it's not just one, it's four. And the four are first. After, you can find, of course, the two dexes and a bit of gaming and so on. And you have another one from xPortal. Maybe there's another one after. Anyway, so what I say is this XP claim is not just about xPortal. It's also about MultiversX in terms of activity, because if you remove this XP claim, you lose a big part of the daily transactions. So it's not good in terms of metrics and what people see when they want to analyze a layer one. So my question is regarding this: should we focus more on this XP claim to make, I don't know, like a more artificial transactions? But that's the way it works on Web3. Or should we stay like we are today? I don't know. That's an open question. I don't have a definitive opinion about this, but I know that it's like TVL, the number of transactions. These metrics are very important in Web3. And all the blockchains are claiming they are the best through these metrics. So should we do the same?
I mean, I personally think this is a completely vanity metric, right? Like transactions that are done on the blockchain doesn't have any meaning, right? Like I said, the xPortal transactions, people might see them as not meaningful, but potentially, you don't know, there's this actual notification that happens every day, to get users into the app. They might perform other actions after that, so it could be useful. This is all about measurement inside the app for the xPortal team to do and evaluate. But of course, you generate transactions that might seem like something really useful, but at the same time, all the other blockchains, they play the same game. And it's like, it's not, you don't judge the player, you judge the game, and the game is itself dumb, to measures, to compete on who does the most transactions, whether they're useful or not. I think and this is what we talked about before, the focus matters a lot. If you focus on this game, which I think is irrelevant, focus on something more useful, solve real problems, and generate transactions that way. If a transaction is useful or not and spikes up transactions per day, I personally don't think it doesn't matter, as long as we don't hit suggestions, right? That's what we want to avoid. You're muted, G.
Oh yeah, sorry. Just wanted to have a subject's opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to see a more social component. I think what would be cool is, if there was something like give a gift or a tip or something that's cross-chain, just to get different ecosystems kind of forced to interact via xPortal. I think, right now the XP claim, I'm actually not going to participate in this new game. I think that, as much as they don't want the FUD and, the negative reactions, I have to be honest, I think that we're seeing the team react and respond to it. And we've seen some good things come from, people who've, raised complaints or concerns. So, I don't know if Marco's response, it was very defensive. Again, when I read that really long kind of reply, I think that hopefully he sits with some of the critiques a little bit more and, sees that I think that we all want xPortal to do well and to be a great app, but I think there was some legitimate feedback.
Okay, I of course invited the xPortal team this morning for an interview, but unfortunately they did not accept. Okay, let's move to the next topic. I don't know if you saw this post of a solver talking about the coming end of inflation on the EGLD, and this is a topic that we already talked about um, in the show a few months ago. But I know that this topic is not over, and we will speak about it often in the show because Benjamin announced a few months ago a full change of the tokenomics and business model of MultiversX, maybe to incentivize more builders and yeah, to find a solution of this, because let's be clear, if there is no EGLD inflation, there will not be enough incentive to reward stakers, so staking providers, and of course individuals who stakes. So what to do? The different hypothesis is about I don't know, like maybe reducing the rhythm of inflation to have a longer and I don't know, to save time, to try to be more adapted, because fees will not be enough at this situation. Or we can also remove the 31.4 million maximum supply, and maybe to set it above, so to continue inflation for more years, to yeah, to try to attract more activity, and so more fees that will be used to reward stakers. So in this post, Solver speaks about the currently things. So we can see MultiversX currently pays 3,430 EGLD a day in rewards to reward validators and stakers. But this is all about inflation, because the transaction fees per day is around 30 EGLD. So it's less than 1%. So if we don't have the inflation, they will only be 30 EGLD. So it, of course, it's not enough to yeah, to reward and to pay fees around staking for staking providers, for example. So there are different hypotheses. You can of course increase the fees, so you can have more fees, but by doing this, you it will be harder to compete with all the layer with the very low fees. You can also use a different thing, like there is here the different scenario he's thinking about. Keep fee constant, but you need to have 114x more usage, so it's absolutely not possible, of course. Other possibility to rise fee per tx, and so you need of course adoption, but less, but it will kill adoption because fees would be too high. And scenario three, you stay like we are today in terms of volume and fee, but at this in this situation, EGLD should increase, but as we know, AGLD should be $1,500. So I'm not sure this is something that will happen very soon. So I would like to have your opinion about this. Is it a real issue? How long do we have before it becomes one? And are you waiting for this new upgrade, this new economic upgrade around MultiversX? Because as far as I understand, if we don't do nothing, well, we're doomed. Like the situation is today. So who wants to react about this? Misha, subject.
Subject doesn't want to, I can.
Let's go.
Tricky subject for sure. I'm very curious for the upcoming proposal to see what is being lined up there. I didn't put too much thought yet into this, but I think what's most important is for the ones that run nodes to be in a slight profit, right? And if you have all the issuances, extremely high profits for, or then you miss a certain budget, right, or to have for later, because we're on a 10-year issuance plan, right, where I think year one 10% of the max supply is being added to the circulation, and with each year this decreases by slightly 1%, right? So that in the end we end up with 0.5% issuance in year 10. I think Solver did calculations for the current year, if I'm not mistaken. Need to look that up again. But yeah, as said, what matters in the end is that running validator nodes is not so risky as one part, because why do you get rewards if the base investment is declining in value, right? So there needs to be a solution for that. I'm not sure if this is the best thing the most thought out thing, but I think something like dual staking could make sense on that part too, to have some stability for people who put a lot of stake in running nodes, right? So that maybe staking up to a certain percentage you can do with stable coins, something like that. Not completely thought out, but I thought this could go into one part of the solution. But other than that, yeah, it's a tricky subject, and extending the year plan, I think, will be also a part of the upcoming proposal. But let's see.
Subject.
One thing I looked up, we get fixated on the number of coins and not wanting to, I guess, change and adapt. But obviously this is a crisis, and so maybe it's not too far from how the fiat system works, which is really not how blockchain how we want things to go. But I looked at Bitcoin. They've, from their inflation, even though it's a very low percent, they have increased their nominal supply by $50 billion in the past 4 years alone. So, there's almost no amount of inflation that, we would do with EGLD at this price that would be anywhere near how much inflation, just because of how high a price Bitcoin is. I don't know if that makes sense, that numerically they've printed up $50 billion just in the past 5 years. So, for a growing, evolving ecosystem at this stage, I think that as long as it's done in a decentralized way and we get the big brains together and run their simulations and it's not too egregious, I think that there is a path forward if we remove the hard cap just to make it more sustainable. But obviously, if there is a way to bring on massive amounts of payments or way increase the transaction fees so that we can keep the hard cap, I think that would be interesting. It definitely is different from how most blockchains have their monetary policy right now. So, that was, I think, a big thing for a lot of people that joined Elrond. They were really interested in looking for a hard cap, and maybe we fail doing it that way, but I think a lot of people want to push it to the limit, and see if we can survive in a hardcore, you know, kind of way where maybe the validators just have to take no emissions for a while and just keep running their nodes. You know, I'm not sure how expensive that is, but I'm sure, you know, maybe there's some people who would take on that role even at a cost to themselves.
Mm. So do you think it because the discussion in the comment was about the capped supply, you know, the 31.4 million, and so would you leave MultiversX if they decided to remove this cap supply, or maybe to set it at another number? Is it something like a deal breaker for you, or you think that if the consensus is okay, if it's something that is positive for the ecosystem, because it will allow to have more time to get adoption, would you stay? So what's your position? Is it like a totem we should not touch, or it is something that we can consider as a possibility?
I think that we can consider it. You know, personally, I would definitely be more likely to decrease my investment in the ecosystem, you know, if it is not done in a decentralized way, and if it doesn't have, you know, the full support of the community. You know, if it just comes from, you know, from top down, and they change it without getting a lot more people, you know, involved, then you know, that's definitely a red flag. But I'm sure that, you know, anything big like that, I would hope that they involve as much of the stakeholders as possible.
Okay, so it's more about governance than the decision itself. Interesting.
Yeah, as long as it's done in a fair, you know, it's a proof of stake network. So if the stakeholders, you know, come to a consensus, then, you know, I don't think it has to be such a hard line that we can't touch it.
Okay, Misha, what do you think?
Tough question. It's definitely a path to a solution, but still, like it will affect the ecosystem. It will affect eventually the price as well, as people might be leaving, who knows. But of course, anything that reduces the price of eGold is not just, you know, investment wise unbeneficial, but also, you know, because the network becomes easier to attack in the end. But so it's a tough decision. It has to be weighted. I don't know. One thing that subject mentioned is definitely on the side of MultiversX, I think, is that it's super cheap and can be economical to run a node, a staking validator on MultiversX, just because it's a super efficient you know, node. We were joking about, you know, running a validator using a fridge or you know, the bike indoor. So that's definitely on our side. I think if we were in the situation of other blockchains where, you know, it costs hardware wise, you know, to rent hardware in the cloud or at home, if that would cost you know, many thousands per month, then it would definitely be even harder of a situation.
Thank you very much, Misha. Guys, we spoke about the 4 topics I wanted. Is there, I don't know, anything else on MultiversX that you would like to speak about? In case, please suggest it right now. And if not, it will be the end of the show of today. Subject, Misha.
Did you ever talk about the tribe? Did you ever?
TRB
Yeah,
thing.
TRBE.
Actually, I talked about it on my X account. I think we talked about it last week. But indeed, we can, if you want, take a minute to speak about it. So, what is TRBE? TRBE is a platform on which projects can buy some credit, and they will use this credit to pay for KOL campaigns. So they made a partnership with MultiversX through the growth game campaign, which is a campaign to attract builders around mostly around AI. The campaign was launched 6 months ago, but did not attract anyone with $1.5 million grant program. So they decided to add to this $1.5 million, $1.5 million in credit to be used on TRB platform to get some KOL engagement on socials. And yeah, a few days ago, they hosted Twitter Space. This one, I will put the link in the comment if you want to listen to it. And in this, like 15 minutes show, TRB gave some advice, marketing advice, lessons to MultiversX. Marketing is a big issue on MultiversX. So it's interesting to see that they are taking lessons in terms of marketing through this platform, which I never heard about before, and which is not very good at marketing, as we can see in their engagement rate. But I don't know. The thing is, have you, Misha, applied to the growth game for the 1.5 million first? And second, will you apply to this addition of a campaign with a TRB, because you are a builder, because you are an AI builder? So I think you're the most relevant person to tell us about this campaign. And after, of course, subject, if you had anything to say about this partnership with TRBE, feel free to share. But yeah, Misha, first, have you applied to this grant program?
To growth games? Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you some insights. This is by pure accidents, right? Applying today with Joy Eye. Let's see what's happening there. Step by
Today?
step. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So when they launched this grant program, so it was in December. It was mostly around AI project. You were working on Joy's thing, Joy AI, I think, at the time. So you did not apply. Can you tell us why, or maybe so, because it's interesting.
Yeah, 100%. So let's dive in. Joy Eye first day, first code was written for Joy Eye was in January the 30th.
Okay.
So it started after, but we didn't apply for the growth games back then because there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and we don't want to, ask for anything when we cannot be sure that we deliver. But the product has evolved so far by now that I think we can add real value to the ecosystem in general. Bring AI, a whole new layer to the blockchain that is completely AI based, because as I said, Joy AI is super flexible. We create a warp in minutes, and then it will be able to interact with any ecosystem part technically. And yeah, we just the reason we're applying today is, I mean, this has been now in the works for 2 weeks, something like this. It's a long thing. It's a very long document. I think we have like 33 pages of texts and deep dives and whatever. So
to apply, you need to fill.
Well, you have to do a proposal, right? And you have to lay out milestones. You have to, request budget. You have to lay out what you're building and the value you deliver to the ecosystem, right? And
Do you think it's too complicated? Do you think, have you ever applied to other grant program on other blockchain? Do you think this one is maybe too complicated, so that's why maybe people did not apply? Because this is something that is remarkable since the launch of the campaign with $1.5 million. So it's a big amount of money. We haven't seen one project that had this grant and support. So there must be reasons. So that's my question. And So what do you think?
Well, multiple points here. So I don't think we don't have attracted any single project. So this is in the work. I know there are projects in the work. It took longer than expected and all this, but it's it
Six
there,
months. No, but I mean, nothing has been announced. So
yeah,
maybe you're right. Maybe in backstage, but in 6 months, I haven't read any announcement saying this project has been granted through a growth game, because we have this kind of announcement with X Alliance when they deliver grant. Of course, it's a small amount, up to $2,000. But anyway, so okay, maybe things are working on by stage, but still,
yeah. It's a long process. As I said, like the document that we're submitting is quite long. It's quite of size. So these things take longer automatically, especially also because, there's higher amounts involved. And I've, I don't think it's necessary, too complicated. The document is visible for anyone. You go to the Grantscape application, Growth Games application, you click on the link, then you see the Google document. That's visible to anyone here. I don't like the growth games are structured by milestones, so you don't receive the whole funds upfront, but they've laid it out in a way that you define KPIs, so key performance indicators of what you want to achieve, and once you have achieved them, you unlock the next milestone, basically, right? The whole funds are split into multiple milestones, basically. And you as a foundation, of course, you want to be specific and precise on this, because otherwise you will have projects applying that promise the world out of it. You've transferred all the funds to them, and in the end nothing is still being delivered. So you want to be mindful about the funds you're spending. And I think it's not necessarily too complicated. If you look at other blockchains, I personally did not dove in deep, but a grant process is never easy, and especially if you go on the governmental part and apply for grants there, things can get even more complicated.
okay, I have a helped project to get grant through many other foundation, and the first step is in general very simple. After you have different process, but the first step, the first form is in general very short, very easy to complete. And after there's of course a getaway gatekeeper, of course, to filter the bad submission, the bad project, and the spams, and so on. And after, if the thing is relevant, if the team is okay, if the project brings value, you have a second step to get to the ground. So what you say is, even if the first step to get into a growth game is that complicated, so maybe it's a barrier to entry, and so maybe some builders were reluctant to apply because it was too complicated at the first step. That may be an hypothesis. I don't know.
I would not say so, because I need to expand on this, because the 30 pages that I'm saying, if you're building a very complicated product, that is, there's a lot that can go wrong, especially with AI. And we are in part of this application is also integrating AI in existing platforms of us. And we're going deep into this. The base form is not that long. If you have a one product that is, straightforward, but can attract tons of users, then you don't have to go in that deep. But
Okay.
of technical nature, the product that we are building, I could write 100 pages out of this and send it to you for review by next week, if you want, if you have enough time.
I hope they will take the time to read those pages. Subject, you wanted to mention this TRBE partnership. So sorry, but I wanted to go back to Growth Game first to put some context. So what did you want to say about this partnership?
Well, I think in the beginning we were talking about adoption and what products, what developments. I think that
How to attract and
yeah,
how
how
to
to
make the
attract
system grow. Yeah.
and yeah, one of the reality is that KOLs do have a big impact. Social proof, is important in crypto. Maybe not for 10xing the amount of people in the space, but when it comes to attention, we have to play the game, and MultiversX has not really been playing the marketing game at all, for the past few years, at least not on the level that other ecosystems are. So, I'm curious if this is going to, spark something new, or, I wasn't sure if this was more to incentivize people within the community to act more like KOLs or to promote themselves, or if this was something that would attract outside KOLs to take a look because now there's some funding potential. So I don't know if you had any insight to that.
Maybe to dive in a bit about this, I did listen to the space they had last week, right? For not even the first half, though I had to leave after. But they did go through some marketing basics, or like the social proof and all these marketing lessons basically. And I think that goes back to the onboarding, as subject said, that there's a fundamental issue, personally, I think, in whole crypto, when crypto puts a lot of focus on onboarding developers. Because when the normal person thinks of a developer, they think of someone who comes to the blockchain and they develop a project, right? But this is not the case in personally, I've seen it, and it's my theory that this is not going to work out in the long term, because developers, they come for a specific problem to solve as part of an employment, that do it in exchange for money, and then they won't be a developer anymore. That's most developers. They come only purely to work in exchange for a salary. And if you focus now on developers and try to get them on board, you will end up with a whole bunch of developers who don't have a job to pursue anymore, because the intersection, intersection of developers and actual entrepreneurs who build solutions that are useful to the ecosystem is extremely small. I know developers who don't have a job right now on blockchain. They know how to develop smart contracts, but they're not starting a project, because developers are not business people. So we need to, personally, I think that goes back to what we said. We need to onboard businesses that create jobs for developers. And in order to get these jobs, these developers will learn how to develop smart contracts. That's natural developer onboarding, right? And as part of this, we also have, as said, the whole audiences that businesses naturally bring. So yeah, focus goes, and if you focus on onboarding developers, then you end up having to teach them marketing 101.
Okay, thank you very much, Misha. Guys, thank you very much for taking the time to come this morning to share your vision and opinion about what's happening to MultiversX. I don't know if you're taking some holidays or if you will build a whole summer, but here we'll continue every Wednesday in the morning to host GM Web3 dedicated to MultiversX every Wednesday the whole summer. So you guys are welcome to come back anytime. Thank you very much for all those who watched us in live and in replay after on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share to your friends to know more and to mute yourself, please. We can hear you. Happy 4th of July. Because what is 4th of July? Is there a celebration? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? What's happening? In the United States of America, the Independence Day. Okay. But we are not American. Are you a subject? You're American? Oh, we are an American blockchain. Okay. Okay. So see you in 2 days to celebrate the independence. Thank you very much, Misha. All the best for you and your project. And you come back anytime to tell us about the next steps.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always enjoy it. third time, and let's see when the next time is. And now back to the pool for you, Chi, right? Like you have the pool all the time behind you.
I wish it was true, but it's not. It's just the background. No, I will have to wait for November to go in vacation. So in the meantime, 100% working. That's what we love. Thank you, subject. Take care of yourself.
Take it easy, guys.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
So this show is over. I hope you enjoyed. So don't forget to follow us, to subscribe, to activate the bell, and to comment and to share to your close friends and family. See you next Wednesday for a new GM Web3 dedicated to MultiversX. And thanks again to our partners, Hatam and eApes. You can find their link in description in YouTube and on the podcast platforms. The show will be available on every podcast platforms in a few minutes. Take care of yourself, and yeah, see you around. Bye bye.